Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Headbangers Closet. It's your pal Brett here. Hope everyone had a great week and is looking forward to the weekend. This video is just going to be what I've been spinning in the Headbangers Closet. Some new death metal and just some other albums I've been just listening to a whole lot lately. And then at the end of the video, I kind of got something special I wanted to show you guys. Let's get right to it. The first one is going to be Leper Colony's new release. It's called Those of the Morbid. Excellent death metal. Meat and potatoes death metal, just good old school sounding death metal. A lot of influences I'm hearing. I mean, every time you put on a new death metal album, you're going to hear influences of death. But these guys, they got a lot of influences, some bolt throwers in there as well. Just really, really great death metal. Something I've been listening to a lot lately. Been listening to this album at least 2 to 3 times a week for the past, I guess, about a month or so. But great record. Leper Colony, Those of the Morbid, check it out. Keeping the death metal vibe going, we've got the latest album from Gruesome, Silent Echoes. And I know what people are going to say, like, oh, it's like a death tribute band. But, these guys are really, really good. And yeah, they sound like death, but they sound like just great Floridian death metal to me as well. And I really like it, this album. I like all the Gruesome records, but this one really has kind of got my attention. It's a really, really good record. Almost as if, like, they've just taken that next step, musicianship-wise with their instruments and production and songwriting. But really, really great album. And this one's on red vinyl. I was able to pick this up on red, which is really, really cool looking. Really, really bright red, blood red. So yeah, Gruesome, blood red. Anyway, really, really cool stuff. Check this album out if you haven't done so already. Silent Echoes, really, really good stuff. And another album I talked about, a while back, but it's another great death metal band. It's called Frightful. These guys, I think, from Denmark. This one's called What Lies Ahead. I'm not really sure if it's Denmark or what. It's in Europe. But anyway, Frightful, really, really good stuff. What sets this one apart from some of the other death metal albums is just the guitar riffs on this thing are second to none. Sometimes I feel with death metal, you kind of get like, the guitar work, in my opinion, kind of gets pigeonholed into that death metal sound. This doesn't have that. This is like really clean, crisp, just heavy chugging guitar riffs, really good melodic riffs. Like, it's the kind of riff, when you hear it, the riff of the song is in your head like the next day. And then as you listen to it more, the kind of lyrics kind of get stuck in your head as well. But the riffs are what stands out to this thing. Really, really good record. I believe this was uncolored. Yes, this is blue. Kind of like marble blue and like gray marble looking. Really, really cool stuff. Check these guys out. Frightful, What Lies Ahead. So then we've got an album I've been listening to for a couple of months now. It's Neon Nightmares, Faded Dream. Big thanks to Matt at the Accusation Network for kind of, turning me on to this one. I love this album so much. I didn't get it in the year it came out. It was after the fact. It would have been easily my number one that year, most likely. But really, really great stuff. Love Spirit Adrift. Love Typo Negative, and it's like a cross between the two. Love everything about this record. It's absolutely phenomenal. Check it out. Neon Nightmare, Faded Dream. And then just a couple albums from Testament, right? Love Testament, but I've been really binging on these records. It's 2 of their more recent releases. Titans of Creation. Great record. Doesn't really get enough appreciation, in my opinion. I'm sure when it came out, a lot of people talked about it. And this came out in 2020 during COVID. But I really like this record. I've liked it since it came out. But it's one of those albums I feel kind of you need to go back to because it's better than you think it is. And then another Testament album that's pretty much the same way. Better than you think it is. The Brotherhood of the Snake. Both of these. I picked up Testament's album when it came out, but I picked up this one recently. And I love this album. Really, really great stuff. Testament is so consistent. They don't put out a bad album, but it's kind of like, you might not listen to that particular album for a while, and you got to go back to it eventually. Like, man, I forgot how awesome this one was. And then the next one is just going to be another recent EP from one of my favorite thrash metal bands, Havoc. This is called New Eyes. Just a 4-song EP. You get Death is an Illusion and New Eyes, the 2 new tracks. Really, really good songs. And then on side B, you get 2 covers. Commotion. I don't remember who sings that, but it's that song goes, Commotion. It's not that good. I guess if you like the original, you might dig the cover. But they close out the EP with a really badass version of Metallica's Eye of the Beholder. It's really good. They do an excellent job with that version. But yeah, Havoc's New Eyes EP on clear vinyl. Really, really good stuff. Havoc is one of those awesome newer thrash bands that doesn't get enough attention, in my opinion. Great stuff. But, speaking of Havoc and thrash, I showed you guys some of the death metal, the three of probably the best death metal albums to come out this year, in my opinion, with Gruesome, Leper Colony, and Frightful. I would say Frightful is probably my favorite of those three. But I've been listening to a lot of thrash metal that's been coming out this year, and there's some great thrash metal albums and bands coming out so far this year in 2025. The problem is I got none of them to show you guys because none of them have put anything out other than CDs and cassette tapes, and I'm not buying either one of those because I don't have any way to play them. I'm only buying vinyl. I've got a record player right behind me. That's what I buy. That's what I'm collecting. So until some of those bands put out vinyl, I'm not going to buy anything other than a t-shirt. But man, there's some really, really great thrash metal bands and albums so far this year. Maybe later in the summer, I might do a video on what I've been listening to thrash metal wise that's new. Kind of show you guys that. Just kind of, I'd like to show you something physical format, but if I don't have anything, I just kind of talk about the bands and why I like them, because man, there's some really good thrash bands and thrash albums come out this year. So last but certainly not least, I got Metallica's Load box set. Well, it came a couple of days before I went on my vacation to Houston to see Metallica, and I was like, by the time I get back, if I do like an unboxing video, there's going to be like so many already up, so I'm not going to waste my time. But I've already opened it. I've been diving in to this stuff. Load has a special place in my heart because, not even remotely close to my favorite Metallica record. But it came out June of '96, and I was at that, I was going into my first year at the University of Rhode Island. I had a job. I had my own money. This was the first album where I could actively seek to go out and collect things. Made sure to get all the cassette singles, all the CD singles, every magazine I could find, and that's what I did. And I was collecting Metallica stuff well before this, with Justice era and the Black Album era. But this era of my life kind of took on a new level because I had money, I had a job. So this really holds a special place in my heart. And when Metallica put out the call, they were going to do the Load box set. They asked fans to send stuff in. I sent a whole bunch of stuff in. Pictures from meet and greets and tour flyers, and the record store that I bought the album at had a midnight sale, and I went and bought it at the midnight sale. So I put in the flyer for that midnight sale, and I was really excited to see what they used from my contribution in this. So I just kind of want to show you guys this box set, kind of show you guys some of the things I've been listening to from it. So here it is with the Metallica tape that's in the box. Just kind of show you guys right there. So there it is. There's a Load box set. This is the whole kitchen sink, right? So let me, oh shit, I can hit myself in the face. So let me take it out. Kind of put this there. So here it is, Load box set. So mine is, oh, hold on, my dog's barking. Sorry about that. Somebody's at the door, or maybe my wife's home. So here's just you get the album, but the best thing, one of the best things in this thing is the Lollapalooza '96. They headlined Lollapalooza that summer. That was back when Lollapalooza went. It was a traveling festival. They headlined it. This thing's phenomenal. Easily one of the best Metallica live albums, live recordings that I've heard, and I've heard thousands of them. Right over here, there's my CD rack. I probably have 200 to 300 Metallica shows on CD, bootlegs, and then just other stuff I burned. So it's a 3-album set. There's Lemmy with Lars, there's James, there's Kirk and Jason, and then the back covers is Lemmy because Lemmy plays the final song from the show, which is Overkill. So that's pretty cool. So we try to put this. I don't want to break nothing. All right, so like I said with the collecting stuff. So here's a picture from the Rolling Stones Lollapalooza. I actually have this one. I picked that up when it came out. You get a ton of stuff. You get a cool Mama Said picture disc, poster from the New Orleans stop of Lollapalooza '96. You get there's a little booklet with all of James's artwork, and there's the all the artwork, and then all the lyrics are in here and stuff like that. But what I wanted to show you guys, just kind of a little bit different. I'll save the best for last. But you get a whole shitload of DVDs and CDs, right? So you get like club shows and rehearsals. You know, they did that Motherload contest with this album from MTV, where like the semi truck showed up to, there was two guys' house. When semi truck shows up, dude opens it, he gets like all this gear from Metallica, memorabilia, in a Jeep. Well, then the winner gets the same thing, but Metallica's in the back, and then they play a show at a local bar where he lives. The dude won it, was last name Burgess, in Aberdeen, Washington. But they did, you know, MTV had that concert on their show. Well, this is in here, the whole thing, and you just get like tons of like B-sides and rarities. You get Escape from the Studio in '95, with them just going on tour. I think it was like the summer of '95, playing a bunch of different shows, and there's a bunch of different songs from those shows on these CDs. You get tons of DVDs. They played in Canada at Tuktoyaktuk for that like Molson Ice party. That's in here on a DVD to check out and watch. But you got like so many CDs of them just, in the studio with demos, just demo tape after demo tape, rough mixes, just riff tape, stuff like that. I'm going to show you guys some more of the stuff that kind of comes with it. You get Poor Norwegian Me. I actually have this bootleg. This was that era where like all these independent record stores in America were selling those like 2 CD set bootlegs for like $50 a piece. I got tons of them, but I actually have this one on CD. This was the remaster version from that Oslo, Norway show on Load Tour. Sounds amazing. And then you get the same thing, but live in the soundboard recordings for Load 96, 97. Just, you get what, like 30 songs, just one, from, different shows like that. So 30 different songs, all from different shows on these 2 CDs. You get a DVD of the show they did in Stockholm, Sweden. Just, dude, so much crap in here. It's awesome, though. I love it. Really enjoyed kind of going on a deep dive. I don't have any way to play the CDs, but I watched the DVDs, and all the CDs are on Spotify, so I've listened to like pretty much everything. I've been listening to that Lollapalooza and the Oslo shows nonstop. They've got the Lemmy 50th birthday party, where they did all the Lemmy covers, all the Motorhead covers, and then Jason sings one. So just a lot of cool stuff. It's all in here. So much to, kind of dive into. So much to listen to. Let me put this up here real quick. So here's the booklet, and this is kind of what I'll show you guys. Just like, big Load booklet, and it's just interviews with Bob Rock about the making of Load, interviews with each guy in the band about the Load sessions and stuff like that. But, then you got like the super fan, who's also the curator of all the box sets, the former fan club and tour manager, interviews about that tour, the album. So a lot of stuff to unpack. But what I just kind of want to show you guys, and there's so many pictures, artwork from the album, stuff like that. So if you got the album Load, this is all the artwork that's on it, all the photos. If you got the album, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But what I really wanted to show you guys is kind of the fan contributions. Just tons of pictures of the guys, the whole big article and chapter in here about Lollapalooza 96 and them playing. There's a huge chapter on Wayne Isham doing the videos that they were on MTV. There was like a huge thing about the Motherload contest. But here's kind of what I wanted to show. Just fan pictures. Bust the thing here. Fan pictures. All right, and there's your buddy Brett right there, Headbangers Closet. There's your pal Brett right there, my finger, a young Brett. So that was Load Tour. I passed out the fan club flyers at I think 7 or 8 shows on that tour. I left college like 3 different times for like a week or 2 at a time, following them up and down the East Coast into the Midwest, and I would go into the stadium before the doors would open. And they'd hand me the flyers for the fan club. The doors would open. I'd hand them out. And I'd get a backstage pass for after the show. You'd meet at whatever gate. Each show was different, and you'd go down. And it was always Jason Newsted. Some people said that James came out, but I went to like 7 or 8 of them. It was always Jason. So that picture's at one of them. I don't really remember which one. I think it's going to be either Providence, Rhode Island, or Hartford, Connecticut, and maybe Worcester, Mass. But anyway, there's me and Jason. I think that's pretty cool. So I turned that in with some other stuff, and I haven't found anything else that I submitted in it. But another cool thing, where my finger is, there's my name, Brett Mylan, right there, pretty cool in the thank yous. So that's kind of cool. Thank you for thank you to our fans for their photos. So that's my name. That's pretty cool. Yeah, man, that's like the Load box set, kind of the highlight for me from the Load box set. Really, really cool stuff. Like I said, really been enjoying digging into everything. And, you know, I gotta say, man, go on Spotify. And this is peak Metallica. I mean, Justice is the best era of Metallica, in my opinion. And, you know, the Black Album, they did a lot of great shows. But I feel this show, this Lollapalooza show, this particular recording in Irvine, California, is peak live Metallica. So give it a listen. It's on Spotify. If you dig Metallica, you won't be disappointed. So that's it, guys. That's basically what I've been listening to lately. So I hope you guys, you know, I hope you dig it. Let me know, you know, if you want to talk about any of the albums I showed, you know, feel free to comment. Love talking to you guys about this stuff. And, you know, appreciate everybody watching the videos. And another congratulations to my buddy George for his 1,000 subscribers. By the time this video is uploaded, he probably got about 1,500 by now, right? So congratulations, buddy. I'm happy for you. So yeah, appreciate everybody. Check out the channel, and I'll have another video for you guys very soon. Cheers, everybody, and enjoy your weekend.